So I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about just like legal marketing in general. So, because you've been in legal marketing for over a decade, and I wonder what some of the biggest myths or misunderstandings that you see in the legal
Sure.
space.
Um, Probably the biggest one is in from an agency. Well, a lot of firms listening. If you don't think you're not getting enough leads, that might be the case, but check your intake. Listen to your phone calls. When your agencies and your leads are coming in, what is your follow up process? How does that walk? How does that, if you have listened to 100 phone calls, are you happy with what percent of them? 90% of firm owners never listen to the phone calls, don't understand the process. Before you start yelling at your agency to get you more leads, make sure you're maximizing the value you can be getting with the leads you have in. We see the biggest gains that firms make aren't so much when they double their lead volume, but when they really get a handle of what's happening to leads that do come in. So the scariest thing a firm can ever do is listen to a random assortment of 20, 25 phone calls and seeing if they were handled properly. Next, what happens is, well, what happens when you get a lead, form submit a chat, a phone call, and they tell you they'll call you back? What is your lead chase down process? So the biggest opportunities and the quickest wins I've seen for firms are the ones that really get a grasp of those so they can make sure they're following up with the leads and answering the phone when they call and not having it go to voicemail.
Is there any sort of drop off in the leads where they hear the message, this is going to be a recorded call, yada, 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 where they just drop off because it intimidates them or whatever? Like, is there any
There
drop off
could
that you've
be.
seen?
I haven't jumped into call roll data in 7, 8 years. I think it's pretty standard nowadays. Pretty much, if you're spending money in marketing, you're probably recording your phone calls. If you're not, the payoff of the 1%, if that, of leads you'll lose because they hear that recording, is more than made up for it by the fact that you can track your marketing. If you can't track your marketing, you can't manage it. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So any offset of having people hang up because they hear that it's being recorded, I would argue is more than made up for it by the sense that if you measure it, you can manage it.